One of the biggest takeaways that I've received from you over the years, one of the first big lessons, major lessons that you taught me was you help enough people get what they want, you will eventually get what you want. And the success that you've been able to establish, even us, when you think about it, like it went to a different level when we began to serve more people.
Sure.
We've been able to help more and more and more people realize their dreams. And that's what you're doing in your company right now. You're helping more and more and more people free themselves and discover their own wins. And when that happens, you win at a bigger level.
Absolutely.
Yes, for sure.
The last time we had a conversation, you were a part of a company and you're like the most successful Black networker in the world or something like that. Yeah, it was something like that. Just killing it. And what I've seen through the years, and I'm not like super in the industry, but like most people have these waves of like this company, something always happens at the top, and kind of maybe they push the good people out. I would like to know what happened if you didn't, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So my first big run was a coffee company. 2009. I'd never had success in the industry, and I found a mentor, and it was everything. Like if the man said jump, it was how high. Extremely teachable and coachable. And I think what happened was I started off as this cub, and 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm a full-grown lion. But the style of leadership was one lion and a pride. So if you are a lion, time for you to go. Like we can't. There can't be 2 full-grown lions here, or 3 or 4. It's not going to happen. So I knew my season was up, because in order for me to go where it is that I needed to go, I needed to have the freedom to become all that I could be. Now, I've learned from that. So now the individuals, the leaders, the men, the women that I do lead that do become full-grown lions and lioness, I don't try and hold them down. I want them to express themselves and be greater than I've ever done in this industry. And they're doing that today. That's what's so amazing about it. So I joined another company.
Well, what was that? I'm sorry. What did that feel like for you internally to be in this culture where you're growing, not just financially, but you're growing as a person? You got these life experiences, with this mentor. And then it's time to go on your own. Like any doubts, It
was tough. I had 6 months of chest pains. 6 months of waking up completely drenched in sweat.
Oh, wow.
Because the mindset, and we have to be very careful as leaders, because motivation and manipulation they're right there. They're right next to each other.
We were just talking about this earlier.
Motivation, inspiration is so important. It's me motivating you for your own benefit. Manipulation is me motivating you, but for my own benefit. And if you benefit, great, but it's really for mine. So the mindset that we were taught, and this is not speaking bad, it's just what it was. Yeah. It was, you're successful because you're in the system. So in our minds, we're like, okay, the only reason why we're winning is because we're with this guy. And if we ever leave this guy, it could never happen.
Yeah.
So I guess it was a defense mechanism for him. I guess it was a way to keep people in, because if you believe that you couldn't win without me, then you would never leave. Too bad.
Wow.
Too bad. My parents both were pastors, and they taught me that all success comes from God. It doesn't come from man. So eventually the Holy Spirit told me, he said, David, it wasn't him. It wasn't you. It was me. And if you trust me, not man, I'll do it even bigger, better, and faster. And that's when I got the release to move on. And I made about $8 million in that company in 7 years. And the next company I went to, my second full year in that company, I made all of that in 1 year.
Dang.
So he was right. He said he
was
could do
right.
it bigger, better,
Better.
and faster.
How did you decide that that was the company you're going to leave your home for?
I didn't leave for the company. I left because there was not an environment that I could stay in any longer. One of the things I've taught people is that never stay in an environment where you're tolerated.
Mm-hmm.
Only stay in an environment where you're celebrated. If you are around people that do not want to see you succeed at a very, very high level, you've got to get away from people like that as quickly as possible, no matter who they are, because it's going to hold you back. So that's why I left. After I left, then the opportunity showed up.
Oh, so you made the move first.
Ah.
And you were in limbo.
I was.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, what am I going to do? Because I love network marketing. I was kind of strike out on my own and go through the personal development route. But I've always liked having a vehicle that I could give people to utilize the principles that I was teaching them. So I could teach you faith. People go to church and they get faith, but they go back to work.
Yeah.
So there's no way to use it. Because you don't need faith at your job. You know you're going to get that check, or at least you better get that check, right? So I always wanted to have a vehicle like say, okay, if you use these principles I'm teaching you, here's a vehicle you can use to actually actualize the faith and the beliefs that I'm actually teaching you. So when that opportunity came about, it was really on happenstance. Yeah. And it had to do with trading and investing. And I knew more about stocks than Forex or crypto or anything like that. But it was one part of the presentation where I said, man, people can win. And that's always been my driving force. Once I believe people can succeed at it, I'm all for it. And we went on and 5 years, a little over 5 years in that company, made $50 million in that company.
Wow.
5 years.
50 million.
I haven't made 50 million, period.
I haven't made 50 million in my life.
37. God,
now watch this though. Remember what I said earlier?
Okay.
Your biggest successes will lead to your biggest failures.
Yeah.
Your biggest failures will lead to your biggest successes.
First things first, we got to stop saying that we've not made $50 million.
Because we've already made $50 million.
We made what? We made $50 million.
Let's go.
It's done.
There you go.
It's in investments right now.
Absolutely.
Tied up in investments
Tied up in
that are growing and multiplying.
Every day.
So by the time we receive it, actually that 50 is going to be closer to like 80.
There you go.
That's it right there.
Words.
That's it, words. I'm saying that every single day. Real quick, before I move on, you said something earlier that I'm going to coin as my own.
Okay. At least you're telling me.
Motivation and manipulation, the way I wrote it down, are very close together, but you said something much more eloquently than, and I just want to get it right.
Right.
I'm giving you no credit at all for this, but I'm going to post this later today, so I need it right. So you were saying? Manipulation
is when you motivate someone else to do something for your own benefit.
Your benefit.
Motivation, inspiration, the right way is when you're motivating them for their own benefit.
Right. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Okay.
So manipulation is motivating people for your my own benefit.
For self-interest.
But let me put a spin on it. Motivation is motivating someone for their own benefit.
That's so